Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. I am your host, Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Joe.
Oh boy, Joe, I have an announcement to make.
What
You
would
know
that be?
me. You know me as an early riser.
Yes.
I like getting up early, and
Yes.
it's been a while since I really slept in.
Yes.
Well, Joe, yesterday I was doing everything. I was
Yes.
going all over the place, enjoying life, having fun on my Sunday, and just having a good time. But I don't know what it was. I went to bed like around midnight, and I was tired. But I was like, you know what? I'm like, I'm still gonna wake up early. I'm like, I'll be fine. Joe, I slept until 10.
Oh. You went to bed at midnight and then slept till 10. Your usual schedule is like 10 to, what, 6?
6. Recently, it's been like 4:30, but it's
Oh, my God.
it's crazy. And I was just like, I think my body just said, "Shut down time, boy."
It is time to go into a Kryptonian healing coma, and then you grow a mullet and come back in like an all blacked out suit, which would be awesome and beautiful and badass.
All this is to say, I'm feeling good. I'm energized. The head isn't shaved. I haven't done that today, but it still looks good. And ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about some colored action books that people call comics.
I was going to say there's got to be an easier way to say all that. It's a friggin' mouthful. Yes, and so I believe if anyone saw last week's episode, I talked first about Radiant Black. I remember the name, not the character's name. I just remember the name of the comic. But yes, I talked about Radiant Black last week a little bit. Joe wasn't able to pick it up, but in the interim, he was able to. So Joe, start us off and give us a little bit of your perspective on this new Image character.
All right, this is gonna be a quick 5 minutes. But first off, I'm a dum dum. I'm a I'm a big dum dum. I'm like, wow. I'm like, this
No one
is
is
weird.
arguing that, Joe.
I'm like, last week when I went pick up these, or no, 2 weeks ago now when I went to go pick up comics, I'm like, damn. I'm like, this comic shop don't got Radiant Black. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, God, this place is pretty cool. And then it hit me. All other comics come out on Wednesday, and I went on Tuesday. And because I was just picking up DC, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I'm like, I wonder if it will be there this week. And then it was there. So there you go. I'm a noob.
Yes, you are. But we forgive you anyway, so please continue.
Thank you. So going on that, you can fully trust my opinion. This book is really cool. It's so cool. I love the actual physical quality of the book is pretty good. Like I like the way it looks, the way it feels. The art, I like the art a lot. Cause it's like borderline, like it could pass as like a TV show cartoon. Which I'm actually a really big fan of. It's funny. It seems really not heartfelt but honest.
Yeah, the writer Kyle Higgins, right?
Kyle Higgins, correct? Yes.
Yeah, he definitely. He's pouring his soul into this book. You can really tell.
Oh my goodness, yeah, and there are a lot of cool spreads where the character actually gets in the suit for the first time. It's really cool. The colors are fantastic. Yeah, I just really liked it. I thought it was really cool. I'm definitely gonna keep reading. I'm excited to see where it goes. I texted other Joe that I think my favorite part of it was at the end of the story. I'm not referring to like the last page type of thing, but I'm actually referring to this little writer's letter on the back.
The actual him talking about it.
I thought that was awesome. I'm like, wow. I'm like, dude took this time to like write this little letter, and he's talking about how much it means to him and talking about like what it was like for him growing up and how like he was kind of a nerd because he watched Power Rangers when he was older and he couldn't understand like why is it that last year everybody liked this but now nobody can enjoy it. And
Dude, I would have been such great friends with him. I forget. I have this vivid memory in the third grade of getting what was it? The Omnitrix, like the new one from Ben 10 Alien Force. So
Oh
there was the
yes.
big bulky one,
Mm-hmm.
and then the new slim one. It was like a bookmark from a Scholastic book fair or some crap. And I remember like wearing because you could wear the bookmark. It was a nice little like thing. I remember putting the bookmark on my wrist and like pretending in class and like playing around with it. And there was this little shitter who would always, he was kind of like a frenemy where he would like bully me, but I kind of was like okay with it because I was kind of dumb when it came to stuff like that. Uh, Not saying it was okay, just saying I'm fine, everything's fine. But it's like I would play with it, and then he would just make fun of me. He's like, "Look at this dweeb pretending that he's Ben 10," and I'm like, I'm in third grade. What the fuck are you talking about? Of course I'm pretending I'm Ben 10. Ben 10 is the shit. He's the shit.
See, maybe not to that same extent, but I relate. I relate to it more with Kyle here, with the fact that like he was almost like he was like a closet nerd, and for me it was with Yu-Gi-Oh. Like when people stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm like why are people like not playing Yu-Gi-Oh? And I remember it was like when I never stopped like even when I told you about like, oh yeah, I played Yu-Gi-Oh for a while, like I was still really nervous to tell you because I thought you were gonna laugh at me. Um, and then I realized I'm like, wow, this kid's an even bigger nerd than me.
Hell yeah, baby!
But like I was a big closet Yu-Gi-Oh player, and it's like I did not want anybody to know because like you just get made fun of. But like, why? Like it's fun. Why is it that? And even like a game like Magic the Gathering, even like if you play that, like it's so dumb. But I don't know. I liked how he kind of put his heart out here in this little letter, and talked about all the stuff he's doing and how excited he is for this story. And I don't know. That alone made the purchase worth it. So I don't know. Do you want to talk about the last page, or do you want to like not talk about it? Like,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
we'll just say
Mhm.
the last page is cool. I think it's really cool. It's a cool little reveal.
Yeah, big
Uh,
time.
I don't want to say it because I want people to actually go out and buy the
Yeah,
book.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
go buy this book. It's great.
yeah. Definitely
It's
definitely go
number
buy it.
one. It's the number one. This is literally the ground floor. Hop on it now because I think it's going to be going someplace pretty special. Anything else on Radiant Black?
No, that was my 5 minutes.
All right, 5 minutes are up. Now we're going to be jumping into the comics that we both read this week. A little limited compared to last week where there was a whole hell of a lot. We only have two books, and we are going to be starting off with the Immortal Wonder Woman story. So, Joe, tell me a little bit about the first story in this book.
So where we left off with the last book was that Joe and I were both confused. We talked about the timeline about how this is like 100 or something years into the future.
This
There's
is thousands of years into the
thousands.
future. This is like we are so far beyond everyone else. This is like the end of time.
Yeah, so really weird. You don't really know what's going on. And with this book, I was excited because I thought, okay, maybe we'll get a little bit more explanation. And I really like the cover. I think the cover is really cool. And just overall, the art in it, I'm a big fan of this art style. I know you. I think you said last time you were a little iffy about it. I don't know what it is, but Wonder Woman, I like the way she looks in this, and I think it looks really cool. But this story, the story's confusing. I'm just so lost. Like it goes back. It's Wonder Woman kind of doing her monologue in her head, talking about like, oh, I didn't ask for these titles, and she's kind of just floating in space. And then you see what happens with the fight between Darkseid and Superman, why did that happen? I don't know. And Superman ends up dying, and it's just weird. Like, and then she runs into Spectre.
The Spectre.
Okay, and she's this villain in the book, or this thing that's killing everything. What is it called?
I don't even remember. It's
Oh,
like
the Undoing.
yeah. It's very similar. You haven't read this, but there is a story called King Thor. It's 4 issues long by Aaron something, or I can't remember his name. God damn it. Jason Aaron's. That's what his name is. He wrote the Jane Foster Thor run when she became Thor. That's the only Thor run that I've ever gotten, but it's really good. And it like the end times for his Thor. It's thousands of years into the future, like of the Marvel universe. Basically, the only people still alive are like the Norse god, like the Asgardians and all that sort of stuff. And there's something called like the All Black, or like the death of the universe. That's essentially snuffing out the stars and just killing everything. Um, and I got very similar vibes from that to this because they were short run series where our main character, Thor and Wonder Woman, were like some of the only living beings left, and they were beings of mythology. And in the like, they go about and they're watching the universes be undone, and everything seems really bleak until they get one final spark of hope in their final acts of defiance or whatever. And both of them sort of in the King Thor book, he if I remember correctly, he restarts kind of like or he kickstarts human life on Earth again. Like he brings Earth back to life, and like the humans are sort of just like, oh hey, we're here. They're like old. When I say old, like less evolutionary to like they're further back in the evolutionary
he
train.
pulled a Lobo in Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Darkest Night.
Yes, but way better and more successfully.
Okay.
And then Wonder Woman in this story does something very similar, where after she meets up with the Spectre, and it's really funny, where it's sort of just like, what is it? She meets up with Spectre and just goes, "Oh, hey, I finally found a friend." And Spectre's like, "I was just kind of here to see who the other person that still was around was, and it's you, haha. So I did that. Time for me to go." And it's more heartfelt than that. But so Spectre dissolves into nothingness, and then as Wonder Woman is being engulfed by the, what was it called again?
The Undoing.
The Undoing. As she's being engulfed by that, she smacks the bracers together and kind of restarts the universe. So I thought it was kind of cool in that aspect, because she's a being of mythology, and it's kind of cool to get this more sort of mythologic storytelling with her character. But overall, I was kind of like, meh.
Did she die?
I think so. I don't know if she died. I think she kind of just spread herself amongst the galaxy, and so now she is the universe, would be my interpretation of what happened. That, or she expelled all of her energy into restarting the universe, and then she's just gone. But I don't know. It's something like that.
She did become a constellation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, my money's on like her body dissolved into the universe, and now she's just a part of this universe. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I liked the art. I was super confused. I don't know. It just felt like this 2 issue story started nowhere and didn't go anywhere. From my perspective.
Yeah, and it again, as it's very well known, it was going to be probably a year-long thing, or at least there was probably going to be more of it, and it's all been kind of like crammed together. And also, none of this is going to matter in about what's it, like a week or two's time. Yeah, exactly.
Next week's the last week of Future State.
Yep. And then whatchamacallit, Infinite Frontier will start up, and the new, like the regular DC universe will kind of come back, and everything will continue on their path, or whatever the heck was going on. But it's kind of, it was an all right Wonder Woman story. Yara Flor her story is still far superior in every way. But now let's talk about the second story in the Wonder Woman book, which involves Nubia. What did you think about this one?
So I'm still 50-50 with the Nubia art. Like, I think it's pretty good. Like, it isn't my favorite, but I like it. Like, I don't want to complain about it. The story's cool. I think it's pretty cool. I think Nubia is a badass. She has me sold now, and I'm really interested in her. Yeah, she just seems like a badass. I like her, and I I definitely want to see more about her. I don't really have much else to say.
Yeah, it's solid. It is. I'm with you on the art where it's not exactly, it's not like an artist superstar. It's not like a Jim Lee or a Sean Murphy or Jorge Jimenez or anything like that. Um, and but the way it's depicted, it's just everything is consistent. Like the artist draws a certain way, and there's nothing like really all that wonky. And so all the faces are pretty good. All the anatomy is pretty solid. No one looks like they're squished down and their head's too big, like that friggin' Green Lantern story. God. Yeah, it's pretty good. I will say, in this, there was a moment that I think is far superior than the moment in the first book, where Nubia goes, "I'm Wonder Woman," and has that like hero stance that we were both kind of like, you didn't earn that yet, sort of a thing. In this book, when she is lent the power, or I say lent quote unquote because maybe the power has been inside of her all along. Woo! And then her costume like appears on her body because she's being held down and like restrained by Grail, the villain from the first thing. And then later on, she's just like, "I got the power inside me," and then her costume forms over her body and she breaks through all the bonds, which number one is just a cool image, and number two is just some great symbolic shit going on because African Americans and America and history, and it's just like, haha, cathartic. And so I just thought that was way superior to her in the previous issue, just in the beginning going, "Hey, I'm Wonder Woman," and like giving a stern finger wagging. It's like, no, you should have just scrapped that and just stuck with this. This was way better.
Yeah, that page. Oh my God, she looks badass when whoever it is, the one other woman who's giving her her powers or whatever, and she's like, "And roar," and you just see her busting through. She's got the costume on, so cool, so cool, and her hair looks sick as well.
It's great. Like the how it looks like a great big cloud that's just sort of following her. I'm like, that's awesome. It's it's just really cool. I liked how they had Cersei in it as well. You probably don't know who Cersei is. Cersei is like a Wonder Woman villain from stuff, as well as a mythological character. We know. I know. Don't at me about that. But yeah, she's cool. The last time we saw her was in one of the previous Justice League Dark runs, like the one that I was reading before with all the great covers and all that sort of stuff. So I was intrigued that they brought her in, and it seems like at the end of this book, it seems like the Nubia story is going to be continuing. And when I look at the ads, when I flip through the Infinite Frontier stuff, it
Yep.
looks like there's a Wonder Woman, like there's a Diana Prince, a Nubia, and a Yara Flor in the Wonder Woman spread. And I'm like, great, cool, bring them all in. They're the best parts of, or some of the best parts of Future State here. So I am fully on board for all this Wonder Woman love that we got going on, and all the different characters. So I'm excited to see what they do with her in the future and Infinite Frontier and all that shit.
Yeah, I noticed that as well, and Cersei's on that page as well.
Yes, so she will most definitely be coming back.
Yeah, they're. I was like, oh, look at that. I'm like, okay, so we're getting some more. That's nice. Um, but yeah, it's good. No, nothing too much to complain about. I enjoyed reading it. I preferred the Nubia story more than the main Wonder Woman story, but yeah, pretty good.
hmm
Now let's go to the big boy.
Big, 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 big.
So we got
No,
Nightwing
you have
over
to
here.
you have to say boy
Okay,
after I
okay,
say
okay.
big.
No, no, no. I'll just, okay, okay. Go.
Big, 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 big.
Boy.
Perfect. Nailed it. One and done.
Fantastic. Okay, so we got Nightwing here, and last time Joe and I made love to this book. Um, if you weren't
All
there,
right.
go check it out. But the art for this book is great. It's really good. And the cover, I think the cover looks really cool as well. And the story, the story I don't know. The story at first, I'm like, oh, this seems really cool. I'm like, this is gonna be badass, and like, it kind of was badass. It was pretty cool. The rest of the Bat family shows up, and I really liked that. But nothing really crazy happens. It was just kind of like this anticlimactic fight. Um, and I don't know. It seemed like in the first issue this was going to be a big thing, but then it just didn't really turn into a big thing. And the main thing that I don't know that I'm iffy about is at the end, Nightwing and the next Batman are like homies, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it was kind of, again, art is still pretty damn good in this book. If you were a fan of the art in the first book, it's same thing here. It's still really great. I don't think anything tops the double page spread where we get introduced to Nightwing when he's doing the flip over the city, but that's fine because that page is great. And the story in this one, I felt a little similar to you in the sense of whatchamacallit. It wasn't quite as, I guess, climactic as I may have wanted it to be, but also I kind of understood that it wasn't going to be all that climactic because, we see how he ends up later on in life with the Teen Titans book, and then there are other Bat books that kind of go on and show that stuff is happening, and, obviously Nightwing hasn't taken down the Magistrate because years in the future Bruce is still dealing with them, unless that's not in his future. We don't really know. Not thinking about it. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. The things that I liked more about this was the fact that they gave Peacekeeper '06, or what did they call it, like Marks or something like that? Was her like last name or something? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
it was something along those lines. Her name Marcus. Marcus.
Marcus, yeah. But so they gave her a little bit of dimension because you find out in this, her parents were killed by a, what do they say? Guy in a purple suit was the description they gave, which obviously is the Joker. And it's just like, ah. So she has a major vendetta against all masks where she's just like, no, there's no heroes and villains. Everyone wearing a mask is a problem. And that's why she's one of the peacekeepers and all that stuff. So I appreciated that. It's like, it's not, an insane range of depth that she gets for her character, but it is a little bit more than just, I am bad guy here to do bad thing. Now we punch a bit. And you're just like, okay, I can get behind that a little bit more. I also appreciate how in the book you can see when Nightwing is questioning people in the beginning, and when he was questioning people, I was like, you're gathering information and you're gonna probably broadcast this somehow. And I noticed the glint in the background behind him in that panel, and I was just like, there's a fucking drone behind you. And at first I wasn't quite sure if it was his or if it was someone else's, but then I realized when he was doing the questioning, I'm like, oh, that was probably his. And then in the end, he doesn't need to beat the shit out of Peacekeeper '06. He just needs to be like, I got you to talk and say all the stuff that I needed you to do that would like topple down your shit. And if you kill me or if I want to, I could just send it out to the internet. And she's like, well, fuck.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, but that's really good. Damn. I found the page that you're talking about now, and I'm like, oh, good eye, Joe. That's impressive.
Hee hee. More
Yeah.
evidence as to why I am the superior Joe.
Yeah. There's only so much a Joe can do.
Isn't that just the truth? Um, but yeah, I liked it a lot.
Okay, I didn't like it a lot, but you still didn't answer me. How do you feel about Nightwing and the next Batman being homies?
Ah, yes. Well, first off, let me just say, next Batman suit, I still hate it. There's something about that suit. Every time I see it, I hate it more and more. I really don't like the suit. This is nothing against his character, because also I don't know that much about his character. You're the one that read the next Batman book.
Half of it.
In this story, it is, he's kind of cool, I guess. He's all right. And then I like the part. Uh, up top, I like that they're not like having a dick measuring contest the entirety of this book. It's very much like at the end of the last issue, there is a crisis going on, and we need to somehow avert this or figure out a way out of it. And from the moment this book opens up, it's like Batman and Nightwing are teaming up together, and you're like, okay, is anything gonna go wrong? And nothing happens, and they're just sort of like acquaintances, or like they're work friends. Essentially, is what it is. It's like they're not friends outside of work. They're just like, we're in the office together all the time. Yeah, I'll stand by the water cooler and like drink and talk with you, sort of a thing. That's what it felt like to me. And then at the end, when the next Batman goes to help Dick up out of the rubble because like he was knocked down or whatever, and Nightwing, he just says to him, he's like, "You called them." It's like, "Why would you do that?" And he's just like, I think the Resistance would be pretty hard off if they lost their leader. And you see Nightwing, he almost looks like he's going to argue for a second, and then his like face softens up a little bit, and he's like, "All right, just help me up." And so I kind of liked that. I don't think they're friends yet. Like I think it's still closer to work acquaintances, work friends, water cooler buddies, whatever. But I like how in the end, the next Batman is just sort of like helping him walk away from the battle scene, and they're just sort of like, "Huh, look at that sunrise! Didn't think I'd live to see that today." And then it's a nice like little. It's not like a wrap everything up ending, but I think it's probably one of the best closures we're gonna get for some of these characters.
Okay, okay. That was a good defense. I like that. You don't have me convinced. I still disagree, but that was a good defense. I like that.
Thank you. I learned it from watching football.
Ah, yes, yes, football. The great sport of the Spaniards.
I'm glad we're both on the same page there. Anything else that you have to say about the Nightwing book?
No, Joe, but next week we finish off Future State with Dark Detective number 4, and Batman Black and White number 3, but that's not Future State. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a ride.
That it has. I'm I'm fairly happy with everything that's been going on with Future State, because like really the last thing of Future State that we're going to be looking at, it will be Dark Detective coming out next week, and so I'm just like looking back on all the books, and I'm like, I mean, even if one of the only book that I regret buying are the Green Lantern stories, everything else I'm like, this is meh to good. So that's something at least.
All I needed was my Red X cover, and I'm happy.
Have you gotten that framed yet?
No, but I did order the pop figure.
Oh, baby. All right, before we have another spiral into Red X merchandise, anything else to add overall to the rest of the comic discussion? Or are you good, Joe?
I'm good.
Wonderful. Then with that, I shall say, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that beautiful stuff. We love you, and we shall leave you, everybody. Goodbye.